Peace and love. Love and peace. I decided to do this early today. I usually do these videos at the end of the day. Or have been, let's say that, because we're only on day 4. Welcome back to day 4, y'all. Thank you for being with me on this 90-day journey to transformation. In the Trigger to Transform program, every day you're getting a little bit of the best bit of what Trigger to Transform is really about. From the simplicities of change and holding ourselves accountable to the more in-depth changes that we make in our nervous system, and beyond that to really become in leadership with self. A lot of us are leaders outside of our world, and we show and direct people, others I would say, how to get to where we're going, and or where they're going and where we're going as a collective. And this program allows us to do that from within. This program is really about the systems that we're building, but starting with the system within, the system that we're working within. We're looking at what is and what is not working, where our gaps are, and where we can stand to make some changes, where we can stand to reprogram, where we can stand to alter, right, our approaches to our lives and how that impacts those that we are leading. This space is for leaders. Okay, so thank you for being here, and thank you for joining me as the voice of this space, the voice in the space, the face of this space. Right now I am in Raleigh, Durham. If you all have ever been to RDU, you all know exactly where I am. I'm at the Sheets. That is around the corner from RDU, where I tend to sit and wait when I have to come up this way. So we have a few minutes before the flight lands and the bags are gotten, and then I will see my son for the first time in a year. So I wanted to tell you all a little bit about that experience, or what is really going on. My son is 18, he's in high school, and around 7th grade, he and I were, talking, and I asked him, well, son, what do you want to do for 9th grade? We're only 2 years out. We know what the school system around here looks like. At the time, we were living in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and what do you want? We had been through several schools in the county. One of them was good, I would say, the last one that he was at, but there was still some systemic things that I wasn't comfortable with. So when we started that conversation, it was before 2021. Now in 2021, I decided that I was going to go back to grad school, which was a wonderful idea. My business was in space and I was creating, and I decided to stop my career as a speech language and developmental therapist to go full forward in coaching and consulting. At the time, I was working with a trucking company, getting the trucking company off the ground, and going to grad school. So during this time, Isaiah was at a school in Fayetteville, and I was also hosting retreats and doing spiritual work. And so one of the retreats that we went on was at the end of September, which was normal for several years, right? And during this trip, I got a phone call that Isaiah had been suspended. And I won't go into the details of the suspension in the moment right now, just for the sake of time, because of course it triggers me. So, but the gist of it was I had to make a decision. I made a decision to take him out of school, and that was the 8th grade year. And for the remainder of the 8th grade year, he was homeschooled. In that homeschool time frame, what I chose to do was travel. We chose and had some other things come up, which we'll also talk about because this all works within why we're even talking about triggers and transforming, right? Okay. So remember, I'm teaching that when we say things out of our mouths, when we have an intention, we have a powerful intention, we will create within that vein, but it may not look the way that we thought it was going to look. So once Isaiah got suspended, we did homeschool. That Christmas, my uncle in Texas called and said, I want Isaiah to come and spend some time with us. And I thought, okay, well, he's in school, but after the fact, sure. And so that conversation really went towards, well, I think this school here may be a really good fit for Isaiah. And I was like, what? So I've always been the type of mom to include my child in the decisions that are making for his life, that we're making for his life. And so I asked Isaiah, how did he feel about it? And he was really excited. And I was like, ugh, okay, well, this is getting real. Like, are we going to make this decision? And ultimately, we did make the decision for several reasons. At the time, my landlord, and these are some of the reasons that I said I will talk about later. This is later. My landlord had decided to sell the condo that we were in financially because I had just stopped working and had now become a 100% business owner. My first year, I didn't qualify for any housing, like to buy a house, right? And that is still my goal. And so that was one reason. So I was in grad school, so I was like, okay, well, this will give him opportunity to be fully engaged in what he's doing. And I spent the time pretty much traveling back and forth to Texas. I sent him out while I went to work in Mesa, Arizona for a few days on a quick contract gig, or not even a contract gig, it was just a quick gig, really. And I made sure that he was okay, and that was really the start of our adventure into what you see now. So that was 9th grade. He went to Texas that April, and I traveled back and forth to see him during the summer a couple of times. Was there when he spent his first day of school at this school. So this school is a leadership academy, and from our decision to for this to be our reality, for us to make a complete buy-in to our decision, he is now in the 12th grade. He has been accepted at the college of his choice from the 9th grade, and he has received over $300,000 in scholarship money and 5 other acceptances to very amazing colleges in the United States. I say all that to say this, right? This is just one example of how there was a trigger, right? The trigger is I wanted something better for my son, regardless to what it is that I needed to do. I needed to sacrifice in order for him to have the life that he deserved. I was going to do that, and I'm still continuing to do that. The plan didn't look exactly the way that I thought it would, especially as it relates to the things that have shifted and changed for me. And I wasn't able to compartmentalize that. There was no separation in how my son was going to experience the effects of what it was that I was experiencing from COVID, from just things that were outside of my control, right? On down to where we are right now, right? So this time in me manifesting, or in us manifesting, what the distinction is from previous times is I didn't feel any resistance to the decisions when they started to happen. I was certain that no matter what was going on, that it was in divine purpose, that it was in intention to fulfill on what it is that we said that we wanted. I didn't have all the answers. Nobody agreed with me that this was going to be a great idea and that my son was going to do well in this experience. Everyone thought I was crazy. They absolutely was like, why would you do that? Down to my grandmother in Dallas. She was like, I would have never. And that's her son that my son is with. I would have never sent my child away. So from that, I have to be able to say, when I am directed, when I know what it is that I need to do, that I can only fall in line with that. That is the trigger. That is the transformation, because there was a day and time where I would want to please everybody. And maybe this wasn't the best decision. You know, all those things that we do, they're where we go to validate what it is that we've decided to do. This is triggered to transform. Okay. So this is where I am supporting others and making decisions for yourself based upon what it is that not only do you want, but also where you are in your life and what is being called upon you in order to evolve, right? This is beyond change. This is beyond transformation. This is taking transformative action in order to have a different reality. My son's life will never look like it would have had we not made this decision. And I say that with confidence because he has had a different experience and is aware of what he wants now. It has nothing to do with me. And he's going after his own life in his own structure. I can also say that right before these things, or as these things were happening, another connection that I was given by Spirit was, he deserves a rites of passage. He deserves the right to be with himself during this time and cultivating himself. Our family is native to this land. I don't call us Native Americans. We're indigenous to this planet, okay? And I can't even say this planet, but this rock, this continent, that's what I want to say. We're indigenous to this place. And so in our indigenous heritage, it is not uncommon for children, males especially, to go out to hunt. And they have to bring they have to bring it back. That's the idea, or they're going to be eaten, right? And as a mother who chose a father for my son who was not completely active, regardless of what was going on with us, he was not there for our son. And so with that reality, there was something that my son needed that he wasn't going to be able to get. Not from me, because I'm not his father. Not from any other male, but he needed to be able to see males in action so that he could turn on his own personal masculinity and be able to move forward in this life. That's the trigger. That's the transformation. This is the evolution, right? It's very strategic to me. And I wanted to be very strategic to you, right? I had to go inside of my operating systems and release some things in order for this to be our reality, in order for this to be true. I had to release fear, right? Not that I do not experience fear, not that there's not fear present around me, not that I'm fearless, but I just operate outside of the fear. It doesn't own me. But that's a choice. That's a part of the change. That's a part of the transformation. This is a part of the evolution, being on the other side of it. Would I do it again? Yes, I would. Am I happy I didn't listen to anyone? Yes, I am. Right? Thank God. Thank God, Goddess, all there is, that we were able to move beyond the expectation of mediocrity. That's what this is all about. Okay. So that was story time. How'd y'all like story time on Saturday? Saturday story time. I don't know. I'm thinking about this being our Saturday vibe, coming to share a little bit of the experience with you so you'll know why I am who I am and the choices that I've made in order to be here, right? It's not that it can't all be so simple. And still, I'm still making and creating clarity around me for those who are, this car is really close to me. Right? And so I just want to say that to you all. You know, I'm creating clarity in my world, so that I'm in a space of supporting others to create clarity in their world. Okay, and I call this thing that we're into, that we're doing, our own personal accountability, right? And making choices. Okay, and maybe tomorrow, maybe on tomorrow's video, we'll talk about what triggers are, because I don't want anyone to be misled or misunderstand what it is that we are here doing together. And I want you to be able to identify your triggers and understand how they absolutely 198% help you. They're not designed to take you down, to create a spiral effect. They are there for clarity. They're there for purpose. Okay? So congratulations on choosing you. Thank you for coming back in here. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. I never remember to say that until I remember to say it. I think the digital world is that goes in the front. But you all know what to do. You know what to do. I'm not even worried about you knowing what to do, okay? I'm really excited to be here with you. I'm so happy that you decided to be here with me. And we're going to walk each other through this. We are going to be present for one another day in and day out for the next 90 days. I'm holding you accountable to what it is that you say that you want. I'm holding you accountable to see the shifts, changes, and advancements and evolutions and transformations leading to the evolutions in your life. That's who I am. That's what I do. I'm Shatoya. Goddess is all I am. I am the many. I am the one. And I'm so happy that you are too. All right. I love you. Be well. And I will check in with you again on tomorrow. Have a good night, y'all. I might come back. I might do something with Isaiah tonight. But be on the lookout for that, okay? Peace.